Hey, how's it going? My name is Spencer, and welcome to Chats with Spencer, where I like to ask my guests fun and unique questions so you and I can get to know them a little bit better. My guest today is a professional Pokemon player. He makes content for channelfireball.com. You can catch him on YouTube and streaming on Twitch almost daily. He's the leader of the Rat Pack and Taco Bell enthusiast, Azul Garcia Greco. Welcome to the show, Azul.
Hey, thanks for having me, Spencer. Yeah, Azul G.G. And yeah, I'm a full-time Pokemon trading card game content creator slash player. Not a whole lot of playing going on right now, I guess, for what it used to be, but uh, here and there, yeah.
So we know Azul the player, but what's kind of like your background, Azul? How did you? I'm not asking. Don't give me the whole game because if you want to hear a great interview with Azul, you can check out the Tag Team podcast with JW and Riley. But we're not going to reiterate the exact same thing. But yeah, how did kind of just give us a quick rundown how you got into the game, maybe the kind of kid you were, that kind of thing.
I mean, I've always been, I guess, kind of kid I was. I was always more of an indoor. I have a lot of brothers. I have two brothers, two sisters, so there's five of
Okay.
us. Um, and I mean, the way I got into the game is we always just had cards growing up, and we didn't know actually how to play the game. But then when we moved, we just met a friend, and they went to Pokemon League, and they were like, "You should come to Pokemon League." So we went to Pokemon League, and then started playing Pokemon uh, competitively. None of my siblings play anymore. It's just me who still plays out of us. But yeah, I kind of turned it into something bigger for myself. Um, and I was always more of a, I guess, like you asked the question, kid growing up. I was more of an indoor kid growing up. Video games, playing Pokemon with my brothers and sisters, card games in general. Um, and yeah, it kind of just built from there.
All right. So where do you fit in the age of all your brothers and sisters?
So I am the second oldest. I have an older sister, and then two younger brothers and a younger sister.
Okay. And you said you played video games as a kid. What were kind of your favorites growing up?
um, it was the ones that we just kind of got into. Was Warcraft 3. I played a lot. Halo 1 on the PC.
Okay.
We didn't have any consoles growing up. My mom didn't let us have any consoles.
Okay.
So we ended up getting latched onto computer games. Like I saved up for my first computer. I think when I was young. I was like 11 maybe. I started saving for my first computer. We were always a Apple family. We only had Mac computers. So I got a Mac laptop and I started playing Halo 1 on there. And then Warcraft 3 was also another one that I played a lot of when I was younger. And then yeah, me and my brothers we played those games. Quake Live when that came out on browser, we played a ton of that, or I played a ton of that, and then my brothers got into that. Yeah, never consoles. My mom never let us have consoles for a while. I eventually got my own Xbox. I was like, "Mom, I'm getting my own Xbox. I want an Xbox," and I got myself an Xbox eventually. But I was computer games for the most part for when we were younger. Like we had a family computer, but yeah, I eventually saved up, got my own computer, and that's when I started gaming a lot. And then my biggest game, like uh, the game I played the most is definitely League of Legends. Once I eventually got into that later on in my life, but yeah, younger growing up, computer games, Warcraft 3, I think was the main one, and Halo 1. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so just in regards to, you can answer this in the context of the Pokemon game itself, or just life in general. What kind of like brings you joy in the game, and maybe just outside the game?
Um, I mean, in the game, I just like playing. One of the biggest things is always just like, and we don't have that right now, and that's what I was like referring to earlier as like playing
Hmm.
the game. Is like IRL tournaments. Those don't exist anymore right now, right? Because of COVID and the lockdown and everything, or which is unfortunate but necessary. And it's I think the biggest thing was just like seeing people at events, seeing all my friends that you don't see regularly from across the country or across the world, even at these Pokemon events. Regional level events, international level events, whatever it might have been. So that's what brought a lot of joy to me. And actually, what is I think the only thing that really kept me in the game about 4 years ago. I was like not I wasn't taking the game super seriously. It was the first time, or it was when the game kind of switched over to the cash era is what people call it when you would win $5,000 when you win a regional. Basically, is when
Okay.
and I really wouldn't have like at that point in my life, I wasn't super into Pokemon. I was still playing the game, but like I wasn't like trying to go to every event and everything. But then I went to a regional because some of my friends were like, "We're going to this regional in Florida," and I lived in New England at that point. He's like, "You should come," and I was like, "You know what? The flight's pretty cheap. Okay, I'll go." And then I ended up winning that event, and that's what kind of snowballed, I think, myself to this point right here. But the only reason I even went to that event or even was going to events at that point was just kind of to see my friends and hang out with my friends and
Mhm.
play this game that we all enjoyed. So that's what brings me the most joy in the game for sure is just going to these events and seeing the people. And now it's grown into something so much bigger for me personally. It's like this is my full-time job creating Pokemon content. And the playing in the real life events isn't even a thing at all right now. And I don't even know how much I would be putting into that. Going into what would be this next season if it was still happening. But I guess we'll see when it eventually rolls around where I'm at with that. But and then just kind of in general, it's kind of like the same thing. Like that is so much of my life that just like um, that is one of the biggest things that just brings me joy in general in my life is just seeing these people at events that I don't get
Mhm.
to see that often.
Nice. All right. So, is there a particular fond memory you have from being a kid? It could be Pokemon related, but doesn't have to be. That you want to just share that just like sticks out in your mind.
Um, Nothing in particular. But
Okay.
I mean, one thing, like whenever I get this kind of question or I think about like my child, just like playing
Mhm.
outside with my friends and my brothers and sisters and like kind of having no cares in the world is kind of like something that I always draw back to. I'm sure a lot of people uh
Mhm.
like think fondly of those moments. There's nothing like no specific memory, but memories like that for sure.
Okay. Oh yes, and I remembered what I kind of like lost my train of thought on. So I was an Apple user growing up as well, and I remember gaming. You'd always have to wait for it to come out for Mac,
Yeah,
and you're just like so painful. It's like, oh, when is StarCraft coming out for Mac? Oh,
yeah,
like that kind of stuff. So I know your pain as well.
yeah. I remember that. All that having to wait for that. I don't even remember how long it would take. It would be quite a while though, and they
Oh
would
yeah,
eventually come out on Mac.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna change up this question a little bit, and it's this: if you could teach Pokemon to anybody, so that could be throughout history or just like present, who would you want to teach it to? Because I think it's such a great game. I think it's pretty easy to pick up, really hard to master, but I think when you show it to somebody and they actually like start to get it, they really enjoy it. So who'd you like to kind of share that game with?
Who would I like to share Pokemon with? Huh. That's a hard question because I don't even know what route I want to go. Because someone who like sticks out to my head, kind of initially as 'cause I've been like, I wouldn't say studying, but I've been watching chess recently a little
Okay,
bit.
okay.
I forget the person's name, but they stream on Twitch and they recently were streaming a tournament. Um, but I mean, Magnus Carlsen, like the greatest chess player right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone like him, but I don't even know if I'd want to go that route. But that's someone who kind of like jumps to my mind immediately because I've been like watching chess and he's such a great
Mm-hmm.
player in a different game. It'd be cool to just watch him play because I would love it if it would be really interesting to see someone like him commit to something that I know. Like if he commits to playing Pokemon and trying
Mm-hmm.
really hard at Pokemon, like where could he go with it? He's such an amazing player in chess, and I have no question that he would be a great player in Pokemon. But I'm wondering like where he could take the game. Because a good like kind of example of that is like Tord when Tord started kind of blowing up in Pokemon and winning all these major tournaments back to back to back. He was doing it in a different way that kind of like changed the game. Like Tord definitely changed the game in the way that he approaches the game and tries to play the game and how successful he is in the game. That he definitely changed the game. So it'd be interesting to see someone like Magnus uh, play Pokemon and how he could affect the game. So it'd just be, I guess that would be my answer then. So that maybe he would get into the game and then see how he could change the game.
Yeah, I think it would be really interesting to see how he approaches the game. And obviously, he has the chess mindset, so how he can
Yeah,
kind of like evaluate board state and, figure out the puzzle through a different lens.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting for sure. Yeah, that definitely have to. I guess he would have now that I've talked through it more. He would definitely be that definitely be my answer.
All right. So I've heard in the past you're not really into one band or group, but is there maybe a song that you should think people should check out that maybe is like less well known?
I mean, I have like it can be like day to day phases where I have like a favorite
Mm-hmm.
song every other day. My current song for that right now is Nectarines. by Melv, Melvv. That's like my go-to. I have like a song that I sometimes just put on repeat whenever I'm like doing stuff like doing the dishes or
All right.
running errands. I have a song that I put on repeat. That's my current repeat song. Um, so that would be the song I would put out there.
All right. Is there anything, one thing you'd like to do or achieve in your lifetime, just in general?
Um, do travel. I just like going to new places, seeing new things. I've done quite a bit of traveling, thankfully, through being a professional Pokemon player, whatever you want to call it. But there's more places that I haven't been that I'd love to go. So do definitely travel, achieve. Um, I mean, like because I am a professional Pokemon player and I play competitively, and as long as I am playing competitive, win the world championships, of course, is like something that would be
Mm.
great to do. But it's like almost not even it's like almost like not even something that I like worry about or concern myself or even think about because it's like I know there's so much RNG in the game of Pokemon that like I've like almost come to terms with just like I just want to play a deck that I enjoy playing at events almost at this point. When big events do finally come back, I think my mindset going into them is just I just want to play a deck that I enjoy playing that I think is good overall, and then not go to the try and take it to the next level that I've taken it to before in the past, where I like try and come up with the broken deck every tournament. Um, so winning worlds would be great, but it's like almost something that's not even that high on my list of things that I'm worried about trying to achieve in my lifetime at this point.
Okay. Is there one thing that most people might find surprising about you?
The one that kind of constantly comes up is that I've never actually played a Pokemon video game.
Okay.
Most people have. I've played bits and pieces like my siblings have, and I used to play like I would be bored. I'd be like, "Yo, can I play that game on your DS for a little bit?" And I would play
Mm.
like a little bit of the Pokemon game. And recently, I played most of the Sword and Shield. I don't know which one I have. So I've Sword. I think I have Sword. And I
Okay.
played most of it. I didn't complete it though. I've yet to complete a Pokemon video game. So that's one thing people always are like, "What? How have you played so much Pokemon? Played so much trading card game? How as a kid have you did you never like pick up a video game or one of the Pokemon video games?" It just never came around. So yeah, never completed a Pokemon video game. I played bits and pieces here and there.
So would you say, in terms of the game of Pokemon, like the card game, you're more of a fan of the game itself rather than the franchise?
Um,
Not to
I
say you're
think
not a fan of the franchise, but you know what I mean. Like you might
yeah.
the
Um,
game itself, kind of thing.
yeah, I think definitely. I mean, what I always say is like it's just. I think it's just me and my siblings because we did everything together when we were younger.
Mm.
We just got into Pokemon. But if we had gone into Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, I think I would have be playing those. And if we got into checkers, if we got into like chess, like whatever we had gotten into and played, um, and been playing when we were younger, so I think what I would have ended up like if we had played Magic instead, I think I would be here talking about how I make Magic content for a living, right? Like I think
Mm.
it just kind of ended up like we played Pokemon and we had Pokemon and we ended up down the route of Pokemon, and that's why I'm here today and
Mm.
I make Pokemon. Like I enjoy the game, but I also like I enjoy Magic. I played Magic before. I enjoy Magic. I don't really like Yu-Gi-Oh. I played that one before. I like Hearthstone. I played Hearthstone. Like I enjoy all these games. It's just I'm kind of into Pokemon a little bit deeper than the rest of them.
Okay. All right. So, kind of a question. So, Azul, for everybody who's not unaware, Azul writes for Channel Fireball, and they've released a couple. I think they're articles where a Magic player, I think in the case of the Magic player, was LSV evaluating a Pokemon card, just like random one saying, "Is this card good or bad?" And then a Pokemon player's saying whether they're actually good or bad, and vice versa. I cannot remember the Pokemon player who did that. But would you be interested in doing some cross content with Magic or another card game, just kind of like you coaching a Magic player playing Pokemon or vice versa? I think that would be just like an interesting collaboration.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. That sounds like something that I would definitely be interested in doing. Yeah, that kind of stuff's really cool. For sure. Um, Yeah, the article that came out was it was Caleb Gedemir, I think was the Pokemon
Okay.
player. Yeah, and I read that. That was it was funny to read on both sides because they did it for Magic cards and Pokemon
Mm.
cards. Yeah, that was a very cool piece of content that Channel Fireball put out. Yeah, definitely would be interested for sure.
Yeah, I was a Magic player going into Pokemon,
Mhm.
and the fact that you can draw so many cards in Pokemon you're just like, oh my god, this is the best game ever. Because in Magic, you don't draw that many cards.
Yeah, that's almost like one of
So,
the things I like about Magic is that it's like, or Hearthstone in general as well. It's so much
mhm,
more about, I don't even know, like it's like you have to like, it's like kind of like the same thing. You know what their deck has access to, and you know what they can do
okay.
turn to turn.
Mhm.
But it's like one card makes such a bigger difference in Magic and Hearthstone than it does in Pokemon, because like you know
Yes.
what your opponent can do, but they're putting down like 10 cards a turn. So when they miss one of the 10 cards in Pokemon, it's like, all right, that's like fine. But they're still fine doing fine. But like in Magic, when you hit that one card, you're just like, well, it's so much. It feels so much more impactful on
Mhm.
the turn.
For sure. All right, we're gonna switch pace a little bit, go to some more rapid fire fun questions, but feel free to stop and elaborate if you feel like it.
All right.
All right. Do you have a favorite sports team?
Not really,
All right, all good.
no.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Do you prefer spring or fall?
Fall.
M&Ms or Skittles?
M&Ms.
One of your favorite movies?
The Dark Knight.
Do you prefer adventurous or relaxing vacations?
Adventurous.
What is the best place you have visited so far?
That's what London.
Was it for Pokemon or just like by yourself kind of thing?
It was for Pokemon. Yeah, there was the European International Championships. They've held it twice there, and Worlds this year was supposed to be in London before it got
Okay.
canceled. So I was super excited for Worlds this year because it was in London, because I really enjoyed London the last two times I had been there. But unfortunate, yeah.
What's the best part of London for you?
I don't know. I think I really just like old buildings, to be honest. I think that's one of the main
Okay.
things. I just like walking around in the London Bridge area. That area was really
Mhm.
cool. I don't know. I just had a ton of fun hanging out there. Another thing is like it was a Pokemon event, so I was there with a bunch of friends, and we were just goofing off the whole time when we weren't actually playing. Yeah, went around downtown, walked around. Big fan of old buildings. I don't know, something about old buildings just really cool to look at and explore and stuff like that. So that's definitely part of it.
Okay. And what's your go-to snack at a convenience store?
Uh, Probably Snickers. Yeah. That's been I usually have like a chocolate bar that I switch off between, like, but Snickers has been my main one. Like before it was a Milky Way, but now it's been Snickers recently. So I think that's the go-to right now.
Well, was it different as a kid? Your
Yeah,
preference?
Reese's was like, I think for a long time Reese's was like my favorite chocolate bar, candy bar, whatever to get. And for me it's always chocolate. Like I'm not really like a chips person or like
Okay.
stuff like that. So for me it's always gonna be some kind of candy. But yeah, it was Reese's for the longest time, and has recently, and then it was Milky Way. And now it's been Snickers. But yeah, Reese's when I was younger for sure was the one.
Well, it's definitely safe to say you don't have a peanut allergy.
Yes, I do not. Thankfully, peanut butter is one of my favorite things. I love peanut butter, so I'm very glad I
All right.
don't.
What was one of your favorite childhood TV shows
Childhood TV shows. Oh man, I didn't watch a lot of TV growing up.
or
From
movie? Maybe.
movie, I can't. Nothing's coming to like mind. Like nothing's sticking out to me in particular that I can remember. Um, I mean, for movies, I guess like Star Wars was like I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, and like my dad um showed us the Star Wars movies when we were younger. So it would be the Star Wars movies for sure. Um I think, yeah, it would have to be those. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I love the Star Wars. I'm not like super into it. I don't read the books or anything. But like I love the universe that Star Wars is, and I like watching the shows like The Mandalorian, super good. And not a huge fan of the newest trilogy, but I'm a huge fan of the universe in general.
Oh, interesting. No, I'm a huge Star Wars fan as well, and yeah, I'm sure you were as well. Just that last movie, just oh my god, well, I want my time back.
Yeah, there's just so much potential there. It's just like such a letdown that that's what they were able to come up with, was the
Yes,
newest trilogy.
yeah, they had so many years to build up to this, and then oh, well, at least the
Yeah.
Mandalorian is trying to
Yeah.
rectify some of that stuff.
It's given us something.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're gonna go kind of back to Pokemon, but some questions kind of outside of the box. What's one card that you thought was bad initially, but it turned out really good, or vice versa? You thought this card was really good and no one else thought it was good.
Um, Bad initially. I mean, I didn't think Zacian was going to be that good. I was like, all right, this seems pretty good. You got Metal
Mm-hmm.
Saucer, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone was immediately hyping ADP Zacian. And then it came out, and it was like, the first tournament that I played in, it was like a ridiculous makeup of the meta. It was insane. So yeah, Zacian would be one for me. I was like, all right, it seemed good. Maybe the thing is like I just never want a card to be as good or a deck to be as
Mm-hmm.
good as ADP Zacian
Mm-hmm.
is. So I was like, all right, it looks good, but I don't want to like call it the best deck ever or anything because I don't want that to happen, and that's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
happened. Card that I thought was good, everyone else thought was bad. Um, and I don't even. That's another one. I just don't even. It's happened so many times throughout the years that I don't think I can pick out one specifically because I've always calling
Okay.
cards good or bad.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to pick out. Yeah, any one specific.
All right. If it goes mine, just let me know.
All right.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. If you could play, so you have to pick one deck to play for the rest of life, just in terms of fun.
Okay.
What deck would that be? And you cannot pick ADPZ, obviously.
It would be Regigigas level X. There's a deck way back in 2000. I didn't start playing with it until 2011. I don't think it was around for 2010, 2011, and it was a deck in 2010, but I didn't play with it until the 2011 era. But that deck was just a ton of fun. I just had a ton of fun with that deck. There's a lot of things you could do. The main point of the deck was to set up Regigigas level X, which had an ability called Sacrifice, where you knocked out one of your own Pokemon, and your opponent drew a prize card, and then you took 2 energy, but it healed 8 damage counters. As the back ones, it had 140 HP, and that was a lot. It was a tank. So these days, 300 is not too unique. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you would discard one of your own Pokemon. You get 2 energy out of your discard pile. It had a 4 energy attack, 100 damage. Discard a card from their hand, top card of their deck, and then it maybe discarded an energy off their Pokemon. But you're usually knocking out whatever it was, anyways. And then you would just sit there, and there was a card called Mesprit, which when you put it in play, your opponent couldn't use Poke Powers on their turn. So you would sacrifice a Mesprit off your bench. You'd clear up a bench space. You'd use Pokemon Rescue or just bench another Mesprit, and you keep your opponent power locked while you're healing your Regigigas and doing like 100 damage every turn. So yeah, that was one of the decks I had the most fun with. And there's a lot of other cool things you could do with that ability as well, because you'd clear up bench space, allow you to reuse abilities of or powers at that point of different Pokemon by discarding them and then using Pokemon Rescue, which is put a Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand and then put it back down. So one of the decks I had the most fun with. It was a very good time for Pokemon in general, 2010 to 2011, before the early rotation that happened that year. Was a
Okay.
very good time in general. Yeah, Gigas Level X would probably be my go-to for a
Nice.
fun deck to play.
Just kind of related, but do you remember your first deck that you won a tournament with, even a local?
Yeah, the first deck I won a tournament with was the first deck. This was 2010. I played a couple tournament, like I was a senior for um which is the second age division. I was a senior for like 2 tournaments in 2009, and then became a master very early 2010. Didn't win anything as a senior. um but as a master I played one deck. I basically only played Shuppet. um, it's known as a donk deck because turn one you can do a lot of damage,
Okay.
and then it doesn't have a lot to go from there. But I worked on the deck the whole year. The first tournament I won with it was just the city championships. Like I kept playing it, and I would like get top 8 in these city championships, and then I would lose to like the good players in my area. I would lose to them every single time. Um, but one city championships I went to, uh, the better players weren't there. So it was just like me and everyone else who was always losing to the better players. But the better players
Okay.
didn't show up to this. There was like a couple different cities championships on the same day, so they were at a different one. So it was just all of us who kept losing to these better players. I was the one who managed to take that one down. That was my first win with the deck. I actually ended up going on to win the regional championship in my area with the same deck later on in the season, which was like my first big win ever in Pokemon. And yeah, it was just that one deck. I played that deck the whole season, shop it, and I just kept working on it. Every single tournament, I would change like a card or two, and just kept working on it and working on it. Yeah, that's what my first deck that kind of that carried me to my first victory.
All right. All right. Okay. If so, like you said, you played Magic, you played Hearthstone. Is there any mechanic or idea that you would like Pokemon to implement from another TCG, whether that be paper or digital?
Um, I like the idea of being able to play cards on your opponent's turn. And there's only ever been, as far as I know, one Pokemon card that's ever been able to do that, which is Power Spray, which
Okay.
says if you have 3 SP Pokemon, which is a specific type of Pokemon in play, you can play this during your opponent's turn. And if your opponent uses a Pokepower, you can play the card and stop the Pokepower. Like it doesn't happen. That's the only one that I know of off the top of my head where you can use it during your opponent's turn. Obviously, there's like
Okay.
abilities and stuff currently that do take effect during your opponent's turn, but you don't activate it. You don't play a card from your hand like
Yes.
Power Spray did. So more stuff like that, and it is I understand like it is in the as far as the game how the game works and how I generally think they probably want to keep Pokemon on the simpler side of things. They don't want to overcomplicate things, right? But it would definitely be cool to see more cards like that implemented in Pokemon in incorrect ways, of course. I don't want them to just like throw 10 cards that all of a sudden you can play during your opponent's turn and have it ruin Pokemon, obviously. But if they could add a couple, I mean, there's only been ever been that one, like I mentioned in the past. So if they could somehow implement them in a good way into the game, that'd be great. Yeah, I'd love to play cards during my opponent's turn for sure.
Thanks for watching part 1 of my interview with Azul Garcia Greco. Please see the description for part 2 of the interview. Please subscribe for more interviews. New videos are out Tuesdays and Fridays. Thank you for watching and take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next video.